Welcome back to another episode of War Hero to Superhero, helping military, veterans, and first responders thrive from the bedroom to the boardroom. I am your host, Daniel Faust. I hope you watched yesterday's episode because this episode is going to be a tad confusing if you don't have some background. So if you didn't watch Thursday's episode, go over and watch it back live or on the replay, depending on what you go over and listen to your favorite podcasting hosts. So go over and check it out. If you checked it out already, then you're equipped. And hopefully this time you have a pen, a pencil, and some notes because we are going deep because you have your playbooks ready and you need to now get to know your players. So in parenting, it's a team sport. We talked about yesterday briefly about how we were not on the same page and how we went over and learned how to become on the same page. And we gave you 6 tactics to go over and to thrive. And one of those was to go over and get your playbooks ready and to get to know your players. And we're talking about tip number 6 about getting to know your players. So how do you get to know your players? You could have 1 player in the house. You could have 4 players in the house. Whoops, that was 5. 4 players in the house, or you could have this many players in the house, 10. And the thing is that each one is very much important to go over and to know individually and also corporately because your playbooks are going to go based on how many players you have in the house. So how do you go over and learn your players? Well, the best way is you learn by observing, asking, and then adjusting. This is what we do in the work center. We go over and do that. We learn the people and we stay on our tippy toes at first, and then we tend to be quiet or more reserved or kind of observing. And then as we get to know people, we start asking questions. We do that for the first 30 days, and then we go and adjust. But when it comes to our kids, like, hey, they came out of us and we birthed them. So we go over and we just do. And the thing is that we're all born with a God-given personality style. So we're all going to be uniquely different. So we go over and have 2 eyes and we have 2 ears, but we only have 1 mouth. So we should be using our ears twice as much, our eyes as much. And then we have this brain that goes over and operates the rest of the senses. So let's go over and do observing and then asking and adjusting. Now, am I saying not to go and parent? No. What I'm saying is that we contextualize parenting to the individual based on the playbooks you've built. So if your playbooks are built, now you can go over and adjust to your players, just like in football. They don't go send the quarterback out to the tight end spot, and we don't send the tight end to the quarterback if you're a football fan. But basically, you don't send like marketing to go over and to do advertising because marketing and advertising, even though they're similar, they can be completely different. Just like IT and operations, they can be similar, but they're completely different. So no matter what analogy you go over and tie with, it's always best to go over to observe, ask, and adjust. So tonight, we're going to help you to observe your players faster because this took me several years to go over and learn and to get certified, at least level 1, and I'm hoping level 2 by the end of this year. But I want to teach you on what I know about my players. So, and also all players in here. So we're going to talk about 2 types of players tonight and then watch on Saturday for the second 2 types of players. So if your players are not talked about tonight, come back tomorrow. If you go over and your players are talked about tonight, still come back tomorrow because it's good to go over and learn about all the players. All right. We're first going to talk about your dominant players. We're going to give you some descriptive words for your dominant players and what you would go over and see or what they would go over and do. They're first very direct. They're also very demanding. They're very decisive, very determined, much of a doer. And here's your caution word for them. And usually your caution word is the one that usually is enveloped the most that you'll go over and see. The first few words, those words you probably won't see all the time, but this one you would do. Your caution word is defiant. Again, the words are direct, demanding, decisive, determined, doer, and the caution word is defiant. They're very direct on what they go over and say, what they go over and think, and what they go over and do. They say what they say, they do what they do. They're very demanding in the sense of whatever they ask, it's high end, it's super fast, it's super quick. They're very decisive. You don't have to go wait for a decision for them. They already know what they're doing. They already know what they're going to say. They can listen to something. They usually cut it short, summarize it, and then go over and make that decision, and they'll stick with it. They're very determined on what they go over and do, and they're very determined what they don't go over and do. So if they went over and told you they don't like a certain food, they don't like a certain food. If they don't like a certain hobby, they don't do a certain hobby. You ain't going to convince them for nothing to go over and to do something unless it's their heart and their mind changes in maturity. But most of the time, they're very determined what they go over and do. They're very much of a doer. They want to get things done fast. Do they really go thorough? Typically not. But they'll go over and do. If you say clean the room, they're going to go over and go through and what they consider clean the room, and they'll go over and say they got it done. If you gave them 10 things on a checklist, they're going to get it done in a checklist. Did they go over and dot the I's and cross the T's? Probably not. They're tad defiant is they'll go over and challenge things, and they'll challenge the status quo, and they'll challenge the person. It doesn't matter on the age. It's not like they go over and say, hey, I'm now 25, I can challenge teenagers. No, the 2-year-old will go challenge teenagers, adults, and grandparents, and even the president of the United States. They'll go over and challenge anybody and anything. Do you have that type of player in your house? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you need some better skills to go and observe with. Well, we're going to go more than just descriptive words. We're going to tell you what they like or the things that they like. What they like is to win. They like to plan for the future. They like new ideas. They like results. They like being their own boss. They like to move fast, and they like to have challenges. Again, the things that they like is to win, plan for the future, new ideas, results, be their own boss, move fast, and challenges. So for them, they like king of the mountain. They like to go over and to win in almost everything that they go over and do. They do not like to lose. And if they go over and lose, they're going to figure out a new way to go over and to win. They like to plan for the future. They're not much of a present person. They're not much of a past person. They love to plan for the future. Once they get to their quote unquote future, they're planning for their future. Matthew McConaughey is kind of this way. When he goes over, he's like, I chased myself when he was 25 to 35. And when he reached 35, he's like, have you met yourself? No, I'm chasing my 45-year-old self. Always planning for the future. Loves to have new ideas. They're the ones that go and early adopt things. They like to go over and have the new ideas and the thoughts and everything else. They don't like sticking to old things. They like to stick to new ideas. They love to have results. They just want things to go over and happen. So the more results they can get, the better. They don't like sitting around mamsy-pamsy type things. So you go over, and if it's a conversation, they want results. If it's going over in action, they want results. They like the things to be super quick, super fast. If they don't go over and get it and it's not giving them results in a concise fashion, they won't like it. Now, they will learn to adapt and understand. But the thing is that typically they want results. They like being their own boss. So in the home, going over and having them authority in an area is actually a good thing. And they like to go over and move fast. They were fast when they walk. They're fast when they talk. They're fast when they go over and go. They don't want to go over and wait. If something needs to happen, something needs to happen. They literally are usually fast runners and fast walkers. Their mind is always going fast. So if you're a slow talker and you're a slow speaker and you take some time to process, they might not stay around. They might be doing something else. And even before the iPhone and the Droid came out for distractions, they could easily get distracted because they always want things to go fast. Fast cars, fast things, fast sports, fast food, all those types of things. They love things to be fast. They also, again, like challenges. So for them to go over and to have something that's in front of them, to go over and say, here's a challenge. If you tell them they ain't going to make it, they're going to beat you and they're going to go over and go above and beyond. You don't tell them that they will lose. You won't tell them they won't go over and do it. They will show you up and they will show you wrong. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's different. All depends on where you go use these skills and your likes and everything else. Here's a secret parenting tip. We go over, and if you give them choice, you give them challenge, and you give them control in any situation, more things are going to go thrive for you. Now, am I saying that they become the parent? No. But if you go over and give them choice, either or, you give them challenge, and you give them control in any situation, you will go over and thrive as a parent. And those playbooks will be a lot easier to write when you know your players. Before we go into our next player, we are going to go jump into a player that is our sponsors. And just a friendly reminder, if you're listening to this via audio, you'll have a musical interlude because our sponsors right now are doing video sponsorship. So just enjoy this nice little interlude. And if you're the dominant player, you can come back in about a minute or so. So thank you for joining. Welcome back to War Hero to Superhero, helping military veterans and first responders thrive from the bedroom to the boardroom. I want to thank our sponsors, Moxie Inspired, which helps you grow your social network as a female empowerment and also entrepreneur, and also Armor Umbrella that helps military veterans to go over and transition well and go over and get access to resources that are commonly unknown. So thank you all for being our sponsors. Now we're going to jump back into that next player, which is your inspiring player. So not every time in your home you're going to have all one type of player. There is actually 4 types of players. We're in player number 2. We're going to talk about the other 2 tomorrow. So please don't forget to go listen tomorrow. Either listen to it live on Saturday or wait for the replay, or go find your favorite podcasting app that you like to go find our content. So let's go into our inspiring player. Here are some descriptive words for your inspiring players. The first word is influencing, impressionable, interactive, impressive, involved, and your caution word is illogical. We'll go over those again. Influencing, impressionable, interactive, impressive, involved, and your caution word is illogical. These people like to go over kids, adults, teens, but your players are your kids right now, is that they like to influence things. They like to go over and to infer things. They like to go over and to make things happen, to make change. If they can go influence you and influence others, the better. They're very impressionable, though. They can go over and you can tell them some types of things and they can get very impressed upon. So if it's someone that's of affluence and whatnot, they will tend to go with them. They can easily go positively and go negatively with this impressionable side. But they also can impress upon you some amazing things because they have such a fast wit and fast learning. Just because they can get easily distracted in school doesn't mean they're not going over and smart. They're also very interactive and they love the things to be interactive. So if it has more people, has more gadgets, has more things, more exciting pushing buttons and resources and everything else, that's great for them. They're very impressive at what they go over and do and how fast they speak and how much they speak and what words they go over and stand. They're actually even so impressive. Sometimes they can do some unique tricks like this. And for my audio listeners, that was a one-hand clapping, just so you know. They're also very involved in what they go over and do and involved in lots of things. They might be in the band, they might be in sports, they might be in this and that and everything else. They're the ones that would go over and sign up for 10,000 things. Pre-COVID and even post-COVID, they might be involved in 10 different other things to go over and to stay involved in the community and what they go over and do. Now, the caution word is illogical. What this goes over and happens is because they emotionally think and they speak with their mouth. Now, what do I mean by they speak with their mouth? We all speak with our mouths, not as much as others. So your dominant and also your inspiring styles are mouth thinkers. And what mouth thinkers do is that they speak their thoughts raw. So if you've ever watched one of my episodes, I fit in this style. And sometimes I can plan out the whole entire day, but then I'll miss a word or misappropriate a fact or different things. And it's not purposeful, but sometimes our brain is going so fast and our mouth is even going faster that sometimes we can misspeak sometimes or go over and we think we know something. And because we want to be impressive, we'll just go with that. And then you'll see the misgivings and the illogical thoughts. So if you are this inspiring style, child, adult, or teen, my tip for you is to go over and take some time to maybe write it down or to go over and to think it through. I know it's hard because you speak your thoughts, but it is possible. And over time, you can go over and do that. This is how I became such a good speaker in this particular world. And I love StreamYard, which is another great place to go over and get your content out. So if you need to get your content out, go to StreamYard to start getting your content out, and connect with us at Legrity Media if you really want to get digitally distributed to the world. But going back into what we were talking about is now things that they like, because you might know the words a little bit. And again, this is a really fast lesson, and I'll give you some resources tomorrow to go over and to really deep dive into this. But the things that they like, so you can see this in reality, is they like to be liked. They like to express the ideas and feelings. They like being in front of a group. They like surprises. They like fun activities. And they like recognition. Again, they like to be liked. They like to express their ideas and feelings. They like being in front of a group. They like surprises. They like fun activities. And they like recognition. So for them, they are emotionally pulled by the people that they go over and love and respect. And they like to be liked publicly and also privately. If they find out that they're hated and ridiculed either publicly or privately, it's very hard to go over and keep them going. They like to express their ideas and feelings. Again, they're the mouth thinker. So they go over and speak their thoughts. They want to go over and express. They also want to be in front of a group. They usually, the higher inspiring style they are, the more they want to be in front of a group. Those are the people that want to do presentations and workshops and those types of things, and to go over and be the star of the show. They also like surprises. They're the ones that want surprises all throughout the day. Things that are mundane and always stay the same, that's what can get them really depressed really quick. But if there's a surprise, even if it's small and they don't know what it is, they want to know and they want to be surprised at the same time. So balance that out. Sometimes you might want to go over and tell them the surprise because they nag you so much. But the thing is, then they'll be sad because they know the surprise. So if you can wait until the end, great. They also like lots of fun activities. So for them in learning and them in school and them in life and everything else, if it's a fun activity, they go over and do it. And they like to go over and to bring fun activities to your home. And they also like recognition. They're the ones that like the gold stars. They're the ones that go over and like to be awarded. They're the ones that want to know they're doing the best. They're the ones that created the decoration system in the military, pretty much, is those people like to be recognized. Your secret parenting tip for them is inch by inch is a cinch and yard by yard is hard. I'm going to go over that in a second. And also make it fun. We'll get the job done faster. Inch by inch is a cinch and yard by yard is hard is for them. They have so many different thoughts and so many different feelings and so many different places. If you try to give them a ton of detail and say, hey, you need to go clean your room, vacuum it, go over and make sure you make the bed, and then go over and sort your laundry, and then go get your laundry in the washer and the laundry in the dryer. Pretty simple list, right? For them, it's so gargantuan. If you add any of the factors, if they're neurodivergent, ADHD, a kid, in that particular factor, just in general, it's going to be very hard for them. So if you can break down the tasks and make them successful, and if you can go over and even put little rewards and recognition as they go over and go, it's going to go work out great. Now you're saying to yourself, I might have teens, I might have adult kids in my household and everything else. As they get older, they're going to go over and mature. But again, you can't just go give them tons and tons of detail all at once and to go over and do that. So maybe you teach them to go over and write it down, and then themselves have to take it inch by inch is a cinch, and then yard by yard is hard. I was a C&D student all the way through high school until my senior year. If I would have got taught to take a bunch of little breaks and do a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and then come back and take small breaks, I would have been so much successful. Same thing in the workplace. Why can I be successful? Why can I go do a mini podcast, a 25 to 30-minute podcast, a digital TV show, director of IT for Allegri, and do all those types of things? I break it inch by inch as a cinch. And then if I don't go into yard by yard, it's not hard. When it becomes, I look at it and it's like, I got to do all these things. Woo, break the small task. I can take this podcast, go over and give one tactic in there, break that down to 5. Guess what? I got 2 podcasts. Boom, set and done. So inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. And if you can also make it fun, woo, like I've been changing like crazy going over and doing these episodes. So yeah, that just makes it fun for me. And also late at night, I do the best in that particular card. So we are 2 players down and 2 to go. So congratulations. If you stuck in audio or video, you can go over and do that. So if you want to go break those segments, when you hear that music interlude, you can go and take a break and come back in that next section, especially for my I's and D's. So tomorrow we will go over the next 2 players. We'll have 2 more players tomorrow. So your superhero challenge today is observe and see if you have these types of players in your home. If not, watch the next episode. See how I did that spelling mistake? Illogical. So just goes to show you, no matter how much spelling you check, it'll be okay. Hope you forgive me. And then if you did see your players in this show, then still watch the next episode. Because when you go over and do, you'll know all the players, and you'll come to find out there's some secret tips on next episode to go over and to tell you intensities of players and also how to identify it even faster by 2 questions. So my D's and my I's, if this was a little too much for you, listen to tomorrow's episode at the end and you'll get 2 questions to identify every single player in your home. So thank you for going over and joining. Thank you for sponsors for continuing to go over and help us grow. Again, if you are struggling in this area, we give a 30-minute thriving session free to every single military, veteran, and first responder. So if you are struggling in this, you need some contextualization, you need to go start to get your living room in order, to get your playbooks in order, to go over and to learn your players, please go over and connect with us. We give you 30 minutes free in a thriving session, one time only, to go over and to get you rebooted and restarted. We hope to go over and connect with you tomorrow in that final episode for the week, and we want to thank you for going over and joining. You all have a great and wonderful day as I'm transitioning.